Wow, there are a lot of characters in Ring of Heroes, so much so that I almost didn't have enough room on my desk to put all of the characters onto here, and in fact, most of them had to hide behind all the other much larger characters right here to fit in with their respective elements, as you can tell as I zoom through the crowd of characters right here. But even then, there are still some awesome Skylanders that are completely absent in the game Skylanders Ring of Heroes. So that's what today's top 10 is going to be focused upon. The top 10 Skylanders that need to be added to Ring of Heroes. Now, this list is not only based on my own personal opinion, and it's also based upon how demanded the Skylander is amongst the fan base, but it's mostly my opinion. So without further ado, let's get in to the countdown. Speaking of countdown, our number 10 slot actually goes to the Bomb himself, a fan favourite of many people ever since he was announced, including myself. I love his unique moveset that could really make for some interesting strategy in Ring of Heroes, say blowing himself up, which could of course be a self-based attack, which deals a lot of damage towards enemies, but of course it also hurts you and your allies a little bit, so it's up to you to take the risk and get the rewards from it. So a very high risk, high reward based character I feel like would be really fun and add a lot of diversity into the game, hence why Countdown is number 10 on the list right here. Plus it also allowed for me to make the pun back there, and it gives the tech element of Skylanders Swap Force a representative at long last. Coming in at number 9, we have another tech Skylander, this time from Trap Team, that being Treadhead, and this guy is here purely because his design is so unique, and seeing such unique design in Skylanders Ring of Heroes, I feel like would bring a lot of flair to the game, purely because of the fact that, you know, it emphasises the uniqueness of each of the Skylanders' design. And I just love the design personally, so on a personal scale I'd love to see this guy purely because I feel like it would be very cool to see him and his motorcycle rendered with the kind of graphics and art style that Ring of Heroes does have. So the artist should just let her rip, quite literally, because motorbikes can rip it up, you can say. And I feel like he'd just be a lot of fun to build with all the other units, just to emphasise the uniqueness of all the characters. As for number 8, we have Fright Rider, finally representing the undead element from Skylanders Giants, and just like Treadhead, his design is incredibly unique because of course he's one of the only Skylanders that is half Skylander, half secondary creature. Rocky Roll does kind of count in this category, considering that he's got a huge rock which is part of his character, but even then Fright Rider stands out apart from him because he's unique and he has more personality, I feel. So once again, I would really like to see this guy implemented into the game purely for the uniqueness, and I'd love to see him rendered in the game and see Fright Rider based around the game's aesthetic and rendering. That would be really fun to see all the same. Plus he's a personal favourite of mine, so I'd love to see him fighting alongside my other favourites like Igniter and Chain Reaction, so on and so forth. As for number 7, we have Boom Jet to represent the air element of Skylanders Swap Force. Now, I know a lot of you would prefer seeing Free Ranger in this slot instead, but personally, I prefer Boom Jet because his design stands out more to more than Free Rangers even, and not to mention his moveset in the game could be really unique, having attacks which single out a single enemy, kind of like his bomb throws as such, maybe a self-based attack which makes his bombs more powerful, and even like his airstrike could attack all of the enemies. I know that doesn't sound unique from what I'm saying, but I'm pretty sure Come To Us could do something really awesome with a move set based around that. And not to mention he also has a really unique aesthetic with the jet legs, so I suppose that being implemented into the game could be really awesome to see with the rendering and aesthetics of the game more specifically. So really the only reason why this guy is here and Free Ranger is not is because of my personal choice, or my personal bias, you should even say, towards Boom Jet being one of my favourite swappers, and me just preferring him over Free Ranger in almost every way, both design based and moveset based, so I feel like his potential is larger because of it. So as for number 6 on the list, we have Scorp, finally an Earth representative from Skylanders SWAT Force, and probably the fan favourite from that element as well, at least my personal favourite. And not to mention, Scorp, out of all of the Earth-based designs, I feel like would fit in most of Ring of Heroes. So far on this list, we've had characters that would stand out, but really what Ring of Heroes also needs is characters who would fit in. And because of that, Scott would really look awesome alongside the other characters just because of how similar his design is with other characters that have already been featured, other insect-like creatures, you could even say, with him being based off a scorpion. And plus, I feel like he could have a really awesome move set with some more powerful based melee attacks and then some defensive, like, projectiles maybe that increase team defense or whatnot. So yeah, I feel like this guy could be a lot of fun and really fits in with Ring of Heroes aesthetic, and it finally gives Skylanders SWAT Force an Earth representative, hence why Scorp has made number 6 on the list, plus I really personally like his design and his character, so why the heck not add him to the game, right? As for number 5, I've put the Swapper, who I think has the most potential in Ring of Heroes, and honestly it shocks me that we haven't seen this character up until this point, and that's Hoot Loop, our magic representative from Skylanders SWAT Force. Finally, and the only reason why I find it a shock that he hasn't been in Ring of Heroes yet is just like Scorp, his design really does fit in with the whole aesthetic of the game, and I'd really love to see what the artists could do with him. And plus, he could also create a really interesting moveset, having teleportation and everything. Like, who knows, he could even perform enemies and tricks, or tricks on the enemies even. Such as teleporting and swapping places with another Skylander. Maybe that disorientates the enemies, who knows? It could create a whole new strategy called disorientate, which makes it harder for your enemies to critical hit. I know that would be a lot of work just for one character and maybe a few others, but I feel like for characters like Hoot Loop, it would be worth it to make him stand out amongst the cast of Ring of Heroes, but once again on a design level fit in, and a Skylander that both fits in and stands out at the same time is just pure awesomeness, so that's why Hoot Loop would fit into the game more so than any other swapper in my personal opinion. Plus he is a fan favourite. I know a lot of people would say this is their favourite swapper, and quite frankly I can't blame them. He is indeed an awesome character all the same. Now, there are only 3 giants in the game, Ninjini, Crusher, and Tree Rake, so it's about time they added another giant, and I think the giant that would suit the game the most is Swarm, purely because he's a huge fan favourite. Most people, including myself, would even call him their favourite giant. And that's based around design and moveset. Like, honestly, this guy has so much moveset potential. You could have, like, a self-based move, which allows him to hover, which deals more damage and has unique attacks, such as the bee sting. And I feel like that would be a really fun addition and add a lot of strategy to it, too, because the self-charge attacks I always find awesome in one way or another, because, of course, you're always charging them, and then once they've charged up, you know, you have the advantage, so that encourages enemies to target that one specifically, so you can draw fire from other Skylanders that you want to keep alive. Stuff like that is a very awesome strategy, and Swarm could be no different. Not to mention his design, just like Scorp, would really fit in with the rest of Ring of Heroes being insect and bee based. So yeah, this guy would just be a lot of fun, and I'd love to see him rendered into the game with its unique aesthetic style in comparison to the console games, mind you. So that's why Swarm is number 4 on the list right here. Number 3 is Boom Bloom, another Skylander that I can't believe has been added to Ring of Heroes already, because she is actually the only sensei throughout the whole of Imaginators that wasn't added to the game, so based on her being left out for that very reason is enough reason alone to add her. And then there's also the fact that she has a really awesome design, which would really suit Ring of Heroes as well, especially with those ears right there. I'd love to see those redrawn by the artists and everything. Because, as I've mentioned already, Ring of Heroes does have a pretty different aesthetic to the console game and aesthetic, which I would love to see Boom Bloom adapt into, you could say. And plus, she's also a fan favourite. So all of those reasons alone, she should be added to Ring of Heroes most definitely, and that's why she has our bronze medal for the list right here. Number 2 is Flameslinger. Now, everyone has been absolutely roaring for this character ever since he was introduced in that promo art for the game, and I don't blame him. Flameslinger is a really awesome character that could bring a lot of uniqueness to Skylanders Ring of Heroes. And he could also have a really unique moveset on top of that, with fire arrows and volley arrows, which hit multiple enemies. Well, that's not necessarily unique, but it will still be fun all the same, is what I'm saying. So Skylanders requested as this, which would look really interesting under the game's aesthetic, and just be a lot of fun to play as and build up as a unit, are all reasons why Flameslinger should absolutely be added to the game, and that's why he's as low as number 2, receiving the silver medal right here. So Flameslinger might be a really requested Skylander from Spyro's Adventure, but there is none more requested from that game than Chop Chop. Now, it honestly surprises me that this guy wasn't a day one choice for Come To Us, okay? He's the fan favourite of thousands upon thousands of fans. People have been demanding him since day one, more so than Flameslinger, and quite frankly, I can't blame him. Not only because he is the fan favourite, but also because he has a really awesome personality, which I'd really want to see recreated in Ring of Heroes some way. And plus, once again, going down to the design level, his aesthetic really does fit in with the other Ring of Heroes cast members. Like, seriously, it would be so awesome to build a team with him, Roller Brawl, and Crypt King in it, because a lot of them are so similar yet different in their own ways that building a team with the 3 of them would just look physically awesome and be really fun to play with, mind you. So Chop Chop should absolutely be added based on his fan outroar for the character and just how awesome he would be inside of the game itself with the game's awesome aesthetic, and the potential team building you could do with Chop Chop and his defensive and offensive options at the same time. I mean, like, come on, he has both a shield and a sword. Surely Come To Us could do something awesome with a moveset like that. So that just about does it for this top 10 video. Let me know your most requested Skylander in the comment section below. I know most of you are going to say Magna Charge, and he barely didn't make the list for me. I wanted to put him in at number 11 or so odd, but Countdown barely beat him out for the sake of a pun, and just because I actually prefer Countdown to Magna Charge. I know I'm probably the only one in that boat, but there you go. Got to make one controversial comment, or else it's not a proper top 10 video now, is it? Anyways, you might also notice that with this perfect cast of 10 characters, every single game has at least one representative from every single element of that respective game. Swap Force in particular had a lot of elements lacking, such as air, earth, and magic, purely because those elements prioritize for trap team characters. So really having one representative of each element from each game would really it would just be awesome, because we would see more diversity, more range of Skylanders characters even, because of course we need one from each generation of Skylanders game. I say generation as if the games were highly spread out, but no, each Skylanders game is a generation. That's why they call them series. Like, you have your series 1s, your series 2s. A different series remarks to a different generation, even if it isn't a generation in real life. It's more of a generation in terms of game franchise aging and everything. But enough of my rambling here. I'm going to be wrapping up the video with my top 10 most wanted Skylanders Ring of Heroes characters, and so I'll be seeing you for the next video. But until that moment arises, peace, and thanks as always for watching. Nah, crud, now I got to put all of these back away on the shelf again. This is going to take a while.
2 hours later.
Whew, that did take a while, but luckily now all of the glorious Skylanders are back on the glorious shelf of glory. That opening shot better have been worth it after all of the pain and turmoil I went through to get it set up for you guys, and then have to unset it up, because unset up is very much a thing just as much as setup is.